Hello everyone. Today we have come with a new topic which is bunkering. The bunkering in this video will be discussed about what all documents, how to do the preparation for bunkering, what are the forms and how to proceed for the paperwork during the bunkering, because for a fourth engineer it is a very important operations, and bunkering in charge is person in charge is the chief engineer. So fourth engineer and the chief engineer have to be very much clear, thorough, how to take the samples, what all documents to be filed, and how to send the samples to the laboratory through agents. And so in this video, basically this part of bunkering will be discussed regarding the paperwork, forms, the samples, and all those paper related work, and not the actual bunkering procedures, because we all are very much familiar how to treat the bunkering by connecting the pipelines and taking the soundings. That's not the part which will be discussed in this video, but mainly the paperwork. So currently I'm having the booklet which clearly explains. This is by the ViswaLab. We all must be very much familiar. And the second one, very famous, by Lloyd's Register, Fobas. So we all must have any time in our sailing would have come across the laboratories tests which are undergone by the after the bunkering. So currently I'm having these two booklets with me. So it can be any other laboratory also. So let's start with the ViswaLab first. Okay, so as you can see, this is the ViswaLab booklet and the other one is the Fobas booklet document pack. So let's open the ViswaLab booklet. So you can read the message from the ViswaLab that, dear chief engineer, this one fuel kit contains the 20 bottles set, 5 sets of 4 bottles, so we should receive 5 samples. And we have noticed that the number of samples which we received do not match the number of kits that we sent to the vessels. This is always a mismatch. So we receive only 3 samples. So guys should not do like this, and we should send all the samples which is required by the laboratory, and we should not bypass their instructions, because this is all about the fuel, and fuel is very much important for the propulsion of ship. So we normally ship the fuel samples 5 kits within 5 working days of receiving your request. And please keep the stock up to date, because there should not be any shortage of the bottles, and they clearly say that we do not want you to be without the sampling bottle any time. So just keep the bunker sample bottles ready for at least 2 to 3 bunkers, which are very much important. So plan accordingly and order accordingly, make the requisitions. All right, so the ViswaLab, as you can see, the Singapore and Houston, that's not our part. So here the chapter says what all topics which we will be discussing. The fuel and analysis in the short, we will not be discussing too much in depth, but the overview. So fuel analysis, you feel why it is needed, and why is it special about the marine fuel, what is tested, and what all the results you get after the tests. And the next, which we'll be discussing about the sampling procedure, how to do the packing and sealing, and how to do the dispatching of the sample, and in case of any dispute in the quality of the bunker and quantity, and how to take the samples from the various points, and frequently asked questions. And let me tell you what all forms which you will be filling in every bunker, that are the common forms. First is the fuel information form, request to witness fuel test sampling form, proforma invoice form, sample analysis report, drip sample order form. So basically these 3-4 forms which you usually fill during the bunkering: the fuel information form, witness sampling form, proforma invoice, and rest are the drip sampler form. That's the things which we'll be discussing as we start proceeding. All right, So what is fuel oil analysis? Fuel oil analysis is a series of ASTM ISO CMAC tests specified to determine the quality of marine fuels. So we need quality fuels also in right quantity. So why is the fuel oil analysis needed? Why? Because as per the MARPOL Annexure 6, MARPOL 7368, as to the sulfur content and the fuel oil quality, that particularly fuel oil quality, poor quality fuel, they have caused the breakdowns of many machineries. So fuel oil analysis is very much required. Without fuel oil analysis we cannot proceed to put that oil into our machineries, otherwise there are huge chances of the machinery breakdown at sea, and also it could endanger the safety of the ship and its crew. So ViswaLab, you can choose the ViswaLab oil analysis program, so that they are very much efficient and all. So, okay, so you can trust the ViswaLab and any other lab. Okay, so what is about good about the marine fuel? That the marine fuel uses the less expensive residual fuel, and what is tested in the test, you get the density, the API gravity, viscosity as 50 degrees centigrade, viscosity at 100 degrees centigrade, sediment content, carbon residue, pure point, flash point, water content, ash, sulfur content, aluminium, silica, vanadium, sodium, iron, carbon, zinc, nickel, lead, phosphorus, magnesium, etc, etc, etc. So all these things you will get in the fuel oil test report, and there are 28 parameters which are more than any other fuel testing lab. So ViswaLab proves it. Okay, next is, what do the results mean? The results, we have just discussed density, API gravity, because we are very much focused on these our vanadium and sodium, ash, water contents, carbon, this sulfur content and all. These all are very much important points which we usually get after our test results. So we have to focus on all these points. Next comes the fuel oil sampling procedure. The fuel oil sampling procedure, as we all know, is done with the help of the cubitainer and the continuous drip sampler. So sampling procedure has to conform the IMO resolution 9647. The sampling is carried out by continuous drip method throughout the period of fuel transfer. During the complete bunkering, there should be continuous drip method sampling to be done. Usually 4 to 5 liters of fuel are flushed into a waste oil container by opening the needle valve completely. So this is how the fuel sampler look like. So you can see here the SS stripe, the flange is connected to the pipeline and into the pipeline connection at the manifold. This is the drip sampler. These are the holes, probe tube. So through these holes the oil is getting collected, and through the valve we can fill in the cubitainer, and ultimately we can put the seal on the cubitainer. Fine. So this is the overview which we usually do at the manifold. So next proceeding, yes, this is very much this is the part which we are actually going to discuss now onwards. The packing, sealing and dispatch of sample. After you are taking the sample from the bunker bottles, you have to dispatch the bottles to the laboratory, but you cannot just simply send the sample, you have to send some paper also, the forms also. So we have got the carton box, the bubble pack, so that you can bubble pack the sample bottle so that there is no leakage of the oil. And with the carton box you should send 4 papers, okay, which the papers forms are: request to witness fuel test sampling. Second form you have to send to the laboratories: fuel information form. Third is the proforma invoice form, and MSDS, your material safety data sheet. And second number, they have to be couriered to the by pre-printed courier away bills, and each to the Houston or Singapore, whatever. So these all four forms, please note: request to witness fuel sampling, fuel information form, proforma invoice, and MSDS. These all four forms have to be sent along with the fuel sample, which is to be sent to the laboratory. All right, so you can see here properly in the table, they have very well illustrated here. You get in your sample box, you get cardboard box, courier bag, request to witness fuel testing sampling form, cubitainer, bottle, seals, plastic seals, bottle label, you get bottle label to paste it. And you can see here on the bottle you get a label, so you have to fill that form and paste it on the sample bottle, so that it clearly indicates what all the quantity and where did you take the bunker, what are the port and which vessel, barge. Next, bubble pack. In the bubble pack you put the bottle, and in the bubble pack, do not send the marble sample. Please do not send the marble sample to the laboratory. Many times people have sent the marble sample to the laboratory. No, this is wrong. You have to retain the marble sample on ship for at least 12 months from the last bunker. Next, the fuel information form. The fuel information form, it contains the information of the fuel which is bunkered. Next, proforma invoice and MSDS. MSDS is a general MSDS which you get by the ViswaLab, and proforma invoice, and attach the proforma invoice and MSDS in the packet courier bag. And then world map and pre-printed airway bill is also given. So as per the country you want to send your dispatcher sample, so you just put that, circle that country, and your sample will be sent to that through that country. And so all these things you get. This is the cubitainer, this is a packet courier bag, this is a sample bottle with the label, this is a cap, and this is the paperwork, all the forms, see all the forms, and this is the carton. So items which is used to in the dispatch of fuel sample. So all these things have to be sent. Next, coming ahead, the bunker fuel quantity and quality dispute. So sometimes the quantity and quality is not good, and so we have the right to raise the letter of protest. And so this is not that much important to be discussed right now, but you can take the look at it because I am recording it for you. Next, collecting samples from various points during the dispute. So this is also like to have the purifier running and take the sample at the inlet to the purifier. So these all things you can see, this is not that much also important. Frequently asked questions we can skip, but you can have a look. I'm holding the details for you. You can pause and check for the details. Accessing the reports online, you can also access the fuel test report online, test results, and usually the ViswaLab, they themselves mail the result to the office, and office sends to the ship. This is a fuel information form which we will discussing. So in the fuel information form, what we get is the vessel name. Please complete this form and fax to email to the office laboratory as soon as possible, so that we can track your shipment and assist the agent. So this is the vessel name you fill, IMO number, customer name, port and date of bunkering, the grade of fuel VLSFO or whatever, and supply name, bunker quantity in metric tons, how much metric tons you want to take. Maybe you want to take 2000 metric tons of bunker, so you mention 2000 metric tons here. Bunker density, what you are getting from the barge, viscosity and sulfur content. So sample point you mark. Vessel manifold, if you want to take the if your sampling point is at vessel manifold, mark it vessel manifold. If the sample is from the barge, mark it barge manifold. Sampling method, continuous or drip or others. There are other sampling methods also, like automatic and metered also. So continuous, tick that. And what are the vessels sample seal number for vessel, supplier, marpol and laboratory. So basically these four samples are sample seals are kept. So samples are vessel, for supplier which is barge, for the marpol and for the laboratory. If needed extra, you can also have for the surveyor sample bottle. So this is the airway bill and the package. Usually right now we do not need to fill all this dispatching, because this is now not that all right. Next form is the request to witness fuel test sampling. So this why this fuel witness test sampling form required? So the ship owner and manager has contracted with the ViswaLab for checking the quality of the bunker fuel received. So we hereby request you to please witness all the aspects of bunker fuel sample procedure, because ViswaLab is being hired by the company and the manager and the ship owner. So we have to make sure we are sending the correct sample to the laboratory. Otherwise it will create a discrepancy between the ViswaLab and the owner and the supplier. So we have to be like a witness during the sampling, that yes, we are sending you the correct sample, and the sample sent to the laboratory is not any wrong sample. So if we should not refuse to witness the fuel sampling, because in case there can be the protest which can be lodged. So take the 4-liter sample curate and then fill the bottles, shake vigorously and fill your sample bottles. So just now we discussed that 4 samples are being taken: vessel, marpol, supplier and laboratory. So here also you have to write the sample bottle with seal numbers, that for testing laboratory sent to ViswaLab, for supplier that is barge, and for the marpol sample and for the ship sample. So these 4 samples. If required any other more sample for the surveyor, then write here 5th point surveyor and with the seal number. Also we have to write the signatures of the because witnessing the sample has been accepted by the supplier and the representative, yes or no. Okay, then countersigning chief engineer, supplier and the bunker surveyor if the any bunker surveyor is there. So their signatures and ranks and everything will be coming here. All right. This is for the bunker sample for urgent testing, in case you want urgent results to be sent to the ship in case of any emergency or any urgency. So you can fill this form. And okay, after you send the report, send the samples, so within 1 week or 10 days you get the report from the laboratory in this form. This is a report, and these all will be the bunkering port, date, and what are the quantity, quality, supplier, these all which we filled, so will be sent here. And below that you can see the test results. So in the test results you may find the all those parameters: density, API, gravity, viscosity, sulfur content, water, vanadium and cat fines and all. So these all will be mentioned here. So they have to be the specification says they have to be in this range, and if the actual test results are there, so you have to be you have to note down Also there would be general recommendations by the laboratory that let's suppose in this sample result the density and API gravity and alumina silica are outside the specifications. So you can see here that density has to be 990 as per the specification RMG 35, but in the test result you got 991.1, which is more than the specified range. Also API gravity should be 11.20, but it is 11.19. Next you can see alumina silica, alumina and silicon. Alumina and silicon, they should be silicon is 5, silicon is 67, sorry, 67, and so they are outside the specifications. So the laboratory will say that the fuel is fuel alert, please do not use this fuel in present conditions, cat fines are extremely high. So there is a warning by the laboratory, please do not use, otherwise you may have a problem in the machinery. So extremely high, purify continuously and recirculate the fuel until the cat fines content come down to less than 20 ppm. So the cat fines have, like, you have to recirculate the tank to tank, you have to recirculate the fuel so that the cat fines quantity reduce and your fuel is now good to be used in the engine. So this is how the laboratory results do come on ship, and we have to be, also they recommend us what all parameters we need to maintain during the usage of the fuel. For example, they will suggest the fuel injection temperature, viscosity at 15 degrees should be 127, density is above, and pour point. They will also suggest what all temperature we need to keep the purifier temperature. So sometimes, for example, we received a very bad oil in our last port. So here the purification efficiency, they are telling us to maintain 90 degrees, but in our last port we received very bad oil, so they suggested, the laboratory suggested to keep 60 degree centigrade, which is very shocking for a fuel oil purifier to run at, but the laboratory is suggesting to run the purifier at 60 degree or 75 degrees. So you have to maintain that parameter because laboratory is suggesting us, we cannot bypass the suggestions. So this is how the reports do come on the ship after the sample is being tested. So also, suppose you are short of the drip sampler and your drip sampler is not good, so you can order the sampler by filling this form, by mentioning the PCD, OD, number of holes, and what are billing. And this is the international standard, ISO 8217-2005, which we are going to maintain. Right now ISO 2017 has been updated, so maybe this is not the updated version, but you can have a brief alright. So this is not again the, yeah, this is the technical update which they usually do, that out of the 5 samples the vessel will get 3 samples, one for the vessel, one for the MARPOL, one for the laboratory, and okay, all right, so nothing much that important. All right, this is for the Singapore bunkering. Suppose Singapore is you are bunkering in Singapore, so vessel has conducted on-site surveys to facilitate the operations ensure that the testing laboratories accurately reflect the quality of the bunker fuel delivered. The MPA should revise the collection distribution for samples as one for the sample for the vessel, one for the MAPOL, one sample for the bunker tanker, one sample for surveyor. If no engaged bunker surveyor, the 4 sample shall be retained by the bunker tanker, and one for the vessel which is actually testing program if it's having. Okay. Next, you can see here there is a very good chart which is explaining properly. So bunkering is being conducted here, and you can see here one is chief engineer, one is a cargo officer, one is a bunker surveyor. So bunker surveyor says I will take one sample. Chief engineer says I will take 3 samples. 3 samples include one for the vessel retention, one for the MAPOL, one for the vessel's fuel oil testing program. If you have your fuel oil testing program like kit you have, and one is the cargo officer, that is he will take 1 sample. So this is as per the Singapore CP60. They ask for the 5 samples. All right. Next, after you receive your fuel oil report, you are supposed to do the compatibility test. So compatibility test kits you have on board, and you heat the sample for 90-95 degrees for 20 minutes. You mix the sample, bunker sample compatibility. So you can search this compatibility test from other means, and after you do the drop test and you heat it, so you get the spots, and you can find here, suppose you get the spot like this or this. So 1 and 2 are considerable, compatible and stable, but number 3, 4, 5 samples are not good because they are showing not homogeneity, and so if the samples are compatible, you will see a homogeneous spot with no inner ring. You cannot find inner ring here, but here you can find the inner ring. Inner ring is there, inner ring you can find, see, but here no inner ring. It has to be very much thorough, homogeneous spot. So this is all about the ViswaLab sample. Similarly, you have the Fobas. So Fobas document pack, let's open it. In Fobas you can find here the airway bill, and similarly you can also see the suggestions, quick guide, how to take the samples and all, how to take the contents bunkering, before bunkering, after bunkering, how to do the sampling, and how to do the tagging, and how to dispatch it to the laboratory. Similarly to the ViswaLab, we are also having the witness sampling form, bunker information form, bunker delivery report. There we had the fuel information form, here witness sampling form. All right, so let's quickly see the forms which ViswaLab gives. This is for the instruction for the sample dispatch. All right, this is the bunker information form or fuel information form. You can find here the sample seals information and receipt, temperatures, and what all supply, that is a bunker representative signatures and stamp, and the ship chief engineers, and this is the fuel information form, and its copy, one copy you have to send to the laboratory and one copy you have to retain on. This is the carbon, this is the carbon side. All right, this is the Fobas witness sampling form, similar to the sampling form for the witnessing. Next, the proforma invoice. The proforma invoice, like for sending the contents to the laboratory by agents. And lastly, yes, we have seen. Yeah, Fobas sample collection form. So this form also you have to fill and send. Also the MSDS, the health and safety data sheet. This also you have to send to the laboratory. Suppose you want to order the new sample kit, so you can also order it from by filling this form. So guys, I hope you have understood how to fill the forms and what all documents you require for bunkering, and how to send the samples to the laboratory, and how to do the packaging, and how to get the results, and how to implement your fuel oil usage after you get the results. So I wish you understand it well, and you will follow the safe bunkering procedures on your every ship. And I have made some other videos related to bunkering, so please check out the other videos in the channel. So take care.